everyone, and welcome to the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wowing the world over the platform they deserve. I'm your host, Nathan Ragland, and it's that time of year again, folks. If you're listening to this when it drops, it is time for Amateur April! For those that are new to the channel, Amateur April is when I go out of my way to look for artists that I think deserve a much stronger following than they currently have. And if you think that on this month I'm going to be lazy about it, well, today's guest should be proof that I'm going to be anything but. Today's guest is Lazi Daisy, an artist, both traditional and digital, whose art can border between cute and cursed on a moment's notice. Lazi is someone that I have been lucky to know because of the love that they have for the podcast. You may have seen their art before, especially if you were around when we were celebrating 2,000 subscribers. I may or may not be tasked with getting a piece of her art on my body tattooed, but we'll talk about that later. Regardless, Lazi is someone that has been a sincere part of this podcast, and I knew I wanted to highlight her with today's episode. If you enjoy our guest, please make sure you support her with the links down in the description below. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. You know I see that stuff, and you know it genuinely does warm my heart. If you want to go a little further with that support, may I recommend you check out the merch shop on fourthwall.com. We have some outstanding designs as done by some amazing guests that have come and gone through this podcast. And I think you would look sensational with the streetwear we have on the store today. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. All right, Daisy, before we really do get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to a desert island on your own accord. It's just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, get to really enjoy yourself for a little bit with accommodations. I shouldn't say desert island, more like a personal B&B paradise away from society for a little bit. Think MomoCon, but somehow more desolate. To make sure you don't go completely insane on this island, you could bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever kind of headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what will that one piece be?
Probably either a sketchbook or like an MP3 player.
Okay. Both very valid options at the end of the day, because you can correct me if I'm wrong. I know with the sketchbook what you'd be doing, obviously. It's in the name. And plus, as people are watching the video version, they can see an example of what you could do when given the sketchbook. But why is sketching always like a good go-to for you when it comes to art and such?
Because it's just a good way to sort of chill and just get random thoughts out without necessarily needing to think about those thoughts.
Honestly, extremely valid. Now, I am curious when it comes to the MP3 player. I'm curious what, at least when it comes to that, what would be like the go-to either like album or playlist, like artist, what would be on that MP3 player?
It would be a weird mix of J-pop and like rock music.
Okay.
Like, I know I'd have the Black Parade album on it.
Beautiful.
But probably whatever songs from whatever anime I happen to like.
Okay.
And then maybe 1 or 2 pop music songs that I just happen to enjoy.
Honestly, that sounds like a really good mix. And I mean, to be fair, I've heard of weirder combinations and weirder like amalgamations or whatnot. I just think that's still a good combo right there more than anything else. The intensity that you can sometimes get with some of those anime intros with the intensity that you get with albums like the Black Parade. Very good combo in my opinion. But regardless, either a sketchbook or an MP3 player. Those are your answers. You're locking that in.
Yep.
Then if that's the case, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You will look fantastic with the merch we have at the merch shop, fourthwall.com. Link to that is in the description below. And follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and most social media platforms at Postmod Art Pod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. She is an artist, both traditional and digital, whose art can border between cute and cursed on a moment's notice. Welcome to the podcast, Lazi Daisy.
Hello, everyone.
How you doing today, Daisy?
I'm good.
Good. I'm so glad to have you on this podcast more than anything else. You have been someone that's actually been a part of this podcast in one form or another, whether you realize it or not. And so whenever you reached out to me, is like, hey, do you think if I could just be on an episode of the podcast? Honestly, I did not hesitate with thinking, you know what? Let's get her on the podcast. Let's get her on the podcast immediately, more than anything else. Plus, as I mentioned in the little intro thing, if I keep it edited in or whatnot, you're the one that's going to be kicking off the 2026 version of Amateur April, and you are definitely someone that I think more people should be paying attention to you and the art that you have going on at the end of the day. But before we talk about the stuff you're doing nowadays, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Daisy. What got you interested in art and such in the first place?
Like, legit, it's just watching anime, reading comics, and then deciding to draw fan art of it.
Okay.
Being bored in class, drawing then like the margins of my notes, and just doing something with my hands. Because, like ADHD stuff, you can't stay still, can't just do nothing. So you have to do something, and then for me, that ended up just being drawing.
Honestly, that is extremely valid. Trust me, I cannot tell you the amount of times my dad got mad at me because I was kept drawing on my paper, especially like in the margins and stuff, when I should have been doing my homework. That's the thing. Drawing is not the issue. It's when I should be taking notes or doing the work that I'm doing it instead.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what were some of those early animes and early comics that got your attention and inspired you to make like the fan art and such?
I know for like the earlier stuff, cartoons like Billy and Mandy, Kurt's Cowardly Dog,
yes,
stuff like that inspired me. And then as I got into more anime stuff, it'd be like Panty and Stocking, Kill la Kill, Trigger, Trigun stuff.
Okay.
The Powerpuff Girls anime, because that was a thing for a bit.
That was a thing for the bit. I always forget until either I see a screen cap or someone mentions it that Powerpuff Girls did have a really cool anime.
Yeah. And even like old school Toonami stuff.
Yes.
Dragon Ball, Naruto. I remember like Blood, Stat Spell, all those things. And it's like even Inuyasha and like Cowboy Bebop, like seeing them, and like as I got older, like I started appreciating the art of them more, and it's like that's really cool. I kind of want to draw something like that. Right.
Oh yeah. No, I mean you hit something like a personal like heart chord or a chord with me more than anything else whenever you mentioned specifically Cowboy Bebop. Because that's one of those, like, anytime I did watch Toonami or whatnot, that was always the one that I was the most excited to watch, Cowboy Bebop. Either that or Fooly Cooly, when that was a thing on Toonami. It was always just, again, it hits me in nostalgia more than anything else. So I nothing but mad respect when it comes to some of the early stuff that got you interested in art and animation and stuff in the first place. So I'm curious, when did it go from like something you loved and admired and did little doodles of to a passion and potentially wanting to make it something you could do for your career?
Literally, it's just I enjoy it, I'm inspired by it, and I just want to do more of it. Like want to do small comics and things. Like I'm not great at comics, but like I do kind of want to do more of that.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, we all got to start somewhere more than anything else when it comes to making this kind of stuff. I mean, especially seeing like the little doodles and some of the stuff you've been able to put forth or whatnot, I can easily see how you could translate that into comics more than anything else. I am curious though, why is comic the preferred medium that you would want to like delve into?
I guess because I haven't figured out animation yet. Like
valid.
The learning curve of like going from just drawing to like making the drawings move, it's like kind of odd. Yeah. So it's like go to comics first and then figure out the animation stuff.
I mean, honestly, that's extremely valid. But I will say, like, especially when it comes to your art style more than anything else, I think that could like easily be translated either way, in my opinion, with what you have been able to put out there. Like, it could easily go into the animation route if you really wanted to devote yourself to it, but going on the comic route, like, it also leaves a lot to really tell when it comes to like expressions and stuff. How did you slowly like develop the art style that we can see again with your profile picture when it comes to people watching the video version and such? Like, how did you develop that art style, especially over time?
I copy stuff. Like, it's weird to see. Like, it's weird to hear, but it's like, yeah, you see an art style you like, and you like copy the characters the way you see them drawn,
Yeah.
and then you draw them over and over again, and then you like see another art style from a show or comic, and you just copy the characters for a while until you like get used to drawing them, and then it's like, yeah.
No, I mean, you say that like we could easily laugh with just the I copy them line, but like, to be fair, most people develop their art style by taking little bits and copying little bits from some of the stuff that they were fans of and stuff that they love, and incorporating it to build again an amalgamation of the art style that they have today or whatnot. And I'm assuming, given what we talked about, like some of those classic Cartoon Networks and the classic Toonami and stuff like that, that was some of the art that more or less inspired you to slowly develop your own. Like, that's how you those were the stuff that you copied in order to get what you got today.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty okay at drawing a Hanna-Barbera,
There you
but
go.
like I can also do like I can draw a Courage the Cowardly Dog pretty well as well. And it's like I've drawn anime characters and I've drawn Batman and like other superheroes. And it's just one of those things where you just start off and go for it until you get something you'd be okay with.
Yeah.
Then just work on it until you get more and more the way you sort of interpret it in your own head.
I mean, honestly, I could. Wow, where I had it and then I lost it. It was like, boop. Nope, you're taking it away. No, I mean, I can honestly see, especially with what you're talking about, and especially with the stuff that you talked about previously when it comes to some of those classic cartoons, how that informed kind of the art that we see today with some of the stuff. I mean, I'm not lying when I say every time I see some of your doodles or whatnot, it's always some of the funniest. Like, I always enjoy anytime I see a new doodle that you do get the chance to post more than anything else. Because especially more than anything else, kind of goes back to the intro or whatnot. It could be something that is absolutely cute and adorable that you put out there into the world. And then it could just be something that's absolutely like cursed. Like, there's no reason why this should even exist in the first place. Is there a particular reason why you like balancing that line like a tightrope more than anything else?
Well, I like cute stuff. I like spooky stuff. I like creepy, dark, horror-inspired stuff. And just one of those things where it's like things I like and things that inspire me end up in my art that I draw.
Yep.
I might draw something really silly and stupid, or something that's actually kind of intimidating and dark. Like, I have a whole page in my sketchbook just for the Horn King from the Black Cauldron.
Oh, that's a good choice more than anything else. Like, that character design at the end of the day is worth studying at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's like he's an intimidating figure who can kind of like simplify into like more simplistic shapes, or like be more detailed and doing like the decayed skull face and all that.
Exactly. I'm also wondering how some of that kind of informs the characters that you develop, not just the ones that you study and copy or whatnot, but the ones you more or less develop for yourself. Some of the OCs that you have out there. There's a couple of OCs I couldn't help but like notice as I was doing my research, getting ready for this interview and whatnot. I'm curious, at least for you, before we talk about some of these OCs, what is the process like for you when coming up with some original characters that you may potentially want to make into a comic at some point?
So when I make characters, I'm legit just vibing it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's some characters I've made where like I'm listening to a piece of music,
Okay.
and I just like have this sort of vibe inspiration in my head, like a tone, and I just sort of put that into a character.
Honestly,
I take information from like classic literature, like Frankenstein,
okay.
like Dracula, and all those other stories, and like come up with ideas, and then put them into outfits, designs, characters, inspirations. Like, I have a page in my sketchbook that just outfit concepts and things.
Okay. Okay. No, honestly, that's valid more than anything else. I'm curious what would the go-to outfit be for you more than anything else. But I imagine like you said, that's more or less like a vibe thing. Like the outfit probably changes ever so drastically when it comes to like whatever vibe you even created the character in the first place.
Yeah. Like if I have a rubber hosey character, she's gonna be like sillier, simple outfits, dresses, skirts, more Betty Boop, Minnie Mouse-esque. But
Yep.
if I like listening to the Black Parade, then the character might end up just looking like Gerard Way and being like an emo guy.
Ah, yes, and this is my original character, Reward Game. I tried switching the first letters of Gerard Way's name, and I just realized I just made it worse. No, I mean, regardless, I mean, especially when it comes to like the Black Parade, especially with the visuals that album alone has, like, even if you take the music out of it, the visuals that they had to go alongside of it, but especially with what you could get with that, I can understand like the kind of attire, the type of look, the type of vibe you could have for a character like that compared to, like you say, a rubber hose character that you developed all listening to, I don't know, the OST for Cuphead's Lost DLC or something like that, you know?
Yeah, like the energy that you go into with the character changes how the character sort of acts and looks when it comes to the world and things around them.
Absolutely. And there's a couple OCs that I've noticed that I have to wonder what the inspiration and the vibe was when you developed them at the end of the day. I'll start off with this one, mainly because I'm going to put it right here in the video version of the podcast. There's a comic that I noticed that you said that you developed years ago when these two OCs met. I'm going to talk about probably the simpler of the two or whatnot. What is this cat girl OC that you have meeting this random person upside down that has like a dot or a void of a face or whatnot?
Okay, so they both came from around the same time period. I was in middle school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And like Catgirl OC was literally just a generic cat girl.
Okay.
I sort of fleshed out the world around them since then. And yeah.
Well, now
Catgirl just a cat girl who I made to be a cat girl. And the faceless girl, her name is Isabel, and
Isabel.
she is a horror movie character.
Okay.
Like, for her whole vibe is like, she hangs around abandoned buildings and she waits for urban explorers to come in and she scares them. Like, she doesn't do anything. She's harmless for the most part, but she likes scaring people and being the horror movie character.
It's
the
not so
idea
much
of that story is they meet up with this other third character who is a dark eldritch-ish tentacle monster.
Oh.
Who has the body of like a doll, like a large marionette type doll.
Okay.
Her name is Nurse, and she's basically what it says on the tin. She's a nurse.
Okay.
But because she looks so terrifying and creepy, no one really interacts with her. People tend to leave her alone, and they don't realize that she's harmless. She's just a nurse.
Okay. No, honestly, that character alone sounds interesting. Like someone whose whole entire intention is I want to help you, but people are so freaked out by it that they don't even think twice when they're realizing, oh wait, this person's here to help me.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to play with that, like someone who's like deceptively creepy and scary, but like ultimately relatively harmless.
And I feel like especially with the first person they talked about, Isabella, the horror girl or whatnot, that also like has that same similar vibe, because like you said, like they're just, their vibe is not let's get to the kill, let's do the hunt more than anything else. No, it's just literally like I hang out around here, this is cool, oh hey random person, okay bye random person.
So the thing with Isabel that she does it intentionally, like she's intentionally trying to scare people because she likes messing with people,
right?
But she's nothing more than just a prankster.
Okay honestly, that's a fun vibe more than anything else. Like especially knowing like what the potential could be with like the supernatural power abilities that she could have at the end of the day or whatnot. Given the inspiration, I can only imagine just the amount of fun you could potentially have with the pranks that she could do.
Yeah, but for her, it's mostly just being somewhere very dark and then waiting and then waiting and then not moving and waiting. And then someone shows up and she scares them.
Ah,
She's
so
a very simple character, but she is fun to have as a character.
I mean, she certainly sounds fun to have, especially in this world that you seemingly have developed with like the three characters that we talked about. I'm almost curious with how much because you said this is a world that you've kind of tinkered with since middle school or whatnot. I'm wondering how much of this world you have developed, how many more interesting characters we could learn about, what's a story you could be telling with there. Is there anything else that we could potentially know when it comes to this world, this unique circumstance you've developed?
Mm. I would say that the cat girl, her name is Celia.
Okay.
Celia and Isabel, they have parents.
Good,
They have
finally.
families. There is a fourth girl
Okay.
who is inspired by Frankenstein and Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, that's an interesting blend.
Won't say too much about her, but she sort of, you can kind of see those Frankensteinish and operatic elements to her character here and there. And then there's another character who's supposed to be like the antagonist.
Ooh.
Haven't developed him too much, but he's sort of the guy who gets under people's skin just generally.
I can think of a few people that are like that, but that I work around them. Hey, no, I'm joking. No, in all seriousness, like that alone already sounds like just a fun world to even tinker with at the end of the day. I'm curious, especially when it comes to the world, even in the first place. Like I said, you've had this idea since middle school. What was the inspiration for it even in the first place?
So the world itself wasn't there at that time.
Okay.
It's something I developed over time, like closer to like after high school-ish. And it's just one of those things where it's like, why not take these OCs and put them in the same place and have them be roommates or something?
Oh my God, they were roommates. No, I mean, even then, like, come on, like, again, like I said, just even having the idea of these characters and how they would interact with each other, that's money worth spending at the end of the day, just to see how that kind of stuff. I mean, you have the creepy nurse, basically the ring Blair Witch girl that just loves playing pranks, a cat girl, an overdramatic Frankenstein Phantom of the Opera-esque beast with an antagonist that gets under someone's skin at the end of the day. If this isn't a comic, Cartoon Network needs to come knocking at your door immediately, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, even then, just hearing about these characters and such and the potential you could have with that, I'm curious. Like you said, you kind of tinker with this idea. Like, is this something that you're planning on bringing forth into comic form at some point and hopefully the near future? Like, what could the audience expect if you were to go down this path and make it a reality?
It'd probably be like a couple of short comics with the characters here and there.
Okay.
Until I build it into something more, but just be like small segments, small segments into their day-to-day life. Because it's more slice of life-ish than anything.
I mean, slice of life of horror-esque, like horror-based characters or whatnot. There's definitely an audience for that kind of stuff. I am part of said audience. I would love to see that kind of situation at the end of the day. Let's be honest with ourselves here. It does also lead me to another potential concept that you're at least tinkering with. One that you've actually posted recently that I was like, wow, I could not believe that I missed this when I was doing my initial research or whatnot. What is this idea of Sophie's Bakery that you just unleashed onto the world recently?
Okay, so that one is inspired by like analog horror, digital horror.
Mm-hmm.
And I had actually made the character some time ago.
Okay.
And just had her and not used her for anything. When I got the idea for like a possible like analog digital horror inspired thing, it's like, well, I have this character that I'm not doing anything else with. I could use her.
There you go. There you go. I can only imagine the inspiration for set, because I mean, analog horror, especially these days, is really easy to see the influence in a lot of media today at the end of the day. So I'm curious for you, what even inspired this, Sophie's Bakery in the first place?
A mix of various analog horror type shows like there's the Walton Files, there's
Okay.
Sophie's Bakery. No, not Sophie. Lacey Games, Lacey
Lacey Games.
Games,
There
and
you go.
then there's actually Kurt's the Cowardly Dog as well.
Oh, honestly, yeah, I can only imagine, especially with how you've already got set up with the first part more than anything else.
Mm-hmm. But just going to be a small comic type thing where you see the character go through a scenario. Nothing too long, nothing too big, but something to put out there.
Yeah. I mean, more than anything else, like I said, you're someone that wants to really get some comics out there, and what better way to kind of get your foot forward or whatnot than with this really creative, like fake game analog horror idea in comic form at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I'm already curious because again, you've only got part 1 out there, but it's 4 panels, very simple panels, but also like it makes you wonder, especially now knowing what it could be. I'm scared to know which direction this is going to go down.
Oh yeah, you should be.
You should be scared. You should be petrified.
Not that scared, but it's like, yeah, you being scared and unsure is part of the thing. It's like nervously wandering into something and not knowing what you're getting into.
I mean, it certainly seems that way with like a very innocent, non-conspicuous, just little girl, in a bakery. Hey, let's make something today, whether it be cookies or cake or whatnot. And knowing that's supposed to be analog horror, what kind of cake are we making? What cookies are we making? What are the ingredients?
Yes.
I know you have your camera off. I'm just imagining you had the fingers like this. Just yes, good, or at least like rubbed it. Just yes, good. Oh goodness. It also leaves me curious as well, because that's just the ideas that we've been able to present out there. I honestly think if more people got the opportunity to see this kind of stuff, like even just the ideas that you're tinkering with, if they're not already on board, they should be. Because I can only imagine the wealth of ideas you could potentially be bringing out onto the world if given the chance. Is there any ideas or any kind of concepts that you have been dying, aside from the 2 that we mentioned, but ones that you hadn't even had a chance to present even an inkling of an idea out there of what it could potentially be? Like, is there any ideas that you've been slowly baking in the oven, just waiting for the opportunity to unleash it onto the world?
Perhaps.
Oh,
but I'm going to keep those kind of close to the chest for now.
Okay. You know what? Understandable. I mean, because like, especially with what I have been able to see, especially hearing what you could be potentially having or whatnot. Like, again, it leaves me curious and scared to know what you could potentially put out there at the end of the day. And I think that mentality is honestly really good when it comes to, especially seeing some of the like the doodles and the arts and especially like the fandoms and the animation stuff that you are interested in and have made like art for and such. I mean, I can only imagine the amount of love that you have, especially when it comes to like animation and horror and stuff like that. Like, what is it about like the shows and the animation and horror stuff like that creatively just drives you to produce the stuff that you want to produce the stuff that you want to put out there?
Like, honestly, it's just me having fun.
There you go.
I find ideas that I like and that I enjoy, and then I just make something inspired by it that I want to see. And then once I make it, just like, okay, I can share it with the rest of you.
It does leave me curious as well, given some of the stuff you have been able to put out there and such. Is there an art piece or a concept that you are the most proud of that you've been able to put out there into the world that, if nothing else, you wish more people got a chance to see? Like, hey, this is this fun idea, or this is this really cool concept, and I'm so proud I made the art for it more than anything else.
Well, one, Sophie's Bakery, like,
okay,
that's one. And another one, what can I think of? I guess it's just whatever I just happened to have made at the time. It's like, in the moment, you like make something, it's like, yeah, this weird ass little doodle. I'm really hella proud of it. And it's one thing I want people to see the most. And then you make something else. Like, that becomes the thing you want people to see the most. And it just, it's weird cycle of you just putting out stuff.
I mean,
for the sake of putting it out.
I mean, I think that's just the cycle of an artist in general. At the end of the day, just like, hey, I had this cool idea. Let me put it out there. Like it, people. This thing is something I love more than anything else. I mean, I can certainly, if nothing else, I try to give you that love as much as I can, especially whenever some of those drawings or whenever you give the love back to me. I'll be honest, like, ever since I've seen some of the art that you've been able to, like, some of the doodles that you've done for the podcast or whatnot, like here and there or whatnot, I cannot tell you how much it warms my heart to see it at the end of the day. I'm just curious, more or less, like, what inspired you to make some of the silly pieces you've made for the podcast?
Oh, like 100%. I thought it was funny. Like if I get an idea for something, it's like, oh, that'd be really funny if I drew it. And so I draw it.
So you're telling me it was really funny for you to draw a photo of you, like a thumbnail, or draw like a fake thumbnail where you're threatening me with a knife. What the
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
No, honestly, I was laughing too. That was really well done. It was so out of nowhere, but believe it or not, that was like one of the first pieces of fan art that I've ever gotten for the podcast. And whenever I saw that, I couldn't help but just die laughing, just being like, "This is perfect. This is the exact vibe I want for the podcast. Have all the guests come and threaten me."
Yes.
I will also say you also have a very strong impact when it comes to a different piece of fan art. And so I'm curious on what the vibe or the mentality was when you even developed it in the first place or whatnot. Why did you make Mr. Moneybags a worm?
Oh, because I'm just like really into the string worms. So it's like, why not?
I mean, look, I'm not arguing with you. Mr. Moneybags is good in just about any form possible or whatnot, but the worm, masterpiece at the end of the day.
If you want, I can also turn it into a rainbow monkey.
I'm not going to say no. You think I would say no? Anytime I get art for the podcast, I'm always going to like love and appreciate it, especially when it comes to rainbow monkeys. I mean, look, I grew up a fan of Codename Kids Next Door. So like, that's just perfect at the end of the day.
I drew a bunch of them in like different colors too.
I saw that.
I made a transparent version where you can just put on whatever background and make your own version.
Yeah, I also saw that during like Pride Month, you made a bunch of like Pride rainbow monkeys and such.
To be fair, half of them I had already made.
Oh, wow.
Just
okay.
in general, as I was messing with colors.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, why not post them and make a few more on top?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, especially in today's world where we need a little bit more of that love and pride out there, it's always nice to see that kind of blending of the two things that we love, whether it be the cartoons that we love and the way that we love the way that we love, period, point blank. I'm curious also as well when it comes to that kind of stuff. It must be also weird for you to know that like after you made Mr. Moneybags in worm form and whatnot, it must be weird to know that, especially after I promised the people that subscribe to the podcast, that I have to get that tattooed on my body at some point. That must be weird and surreal for you to know that that's going to be inked on me at some point.
Okay, so really, it's not as weird as you think, because I've actually drawn tattoos from one or two other people.
Oh, really?
Like, I know my mom has a tattoo that I've drawn. I think I drew like an idea for one of my uncles some time ago. And even when the tattoo's on me, I drew it.
Okay.
And just had the tattoo artist and put it on.
I'm curious if you were able to divulge or whatnot. What are some of the tattoos you've drawn for other people?
I prefer not to disclose that.
Understandable.
But like, yeah.
I mean,
they're just small little tattoo things that you can get quick, not too big, just take up small amount of space.
Yeah. I mean, even then, the fact that you already know that there are people out there that have your art tattooed on their bodies, and there's going to be another one. I am going to get it. It's just a matter of having the right amount of funds at the right time to get it done. But I do intend on still getting that tattoo. I have not backed out of it more than anything else. So just know that at some point, I'm still even debating on where on my body to get it. It's not the face. I can tell you that much. But at some point, there's going to be a Mr. Moneybags worm somewhere on my body.
For a first tattoo placement, I'd recommend like upper arms, maybe your back, maybe your upper legs.
I
Those are
see.
usually better spots for first tattoos.
See, I was debating on either somewhere up here when it comes to like, shoulder, upper arm or whatnot, or probably around my hip area. That's what I was thinking. Because I know that the sensitivity. Yeah, I was gonna say, because like I know sensitivity is like weird certain spots. Like I wasn't gonna get this thing anywhere close to my chest because I know that's like some of the most sensitive areas when it comes to getting tattoos and such. And also, again, like I'm not getting a face tattoo. I'm never getting a face tattoo or a neck tattoo. I'll keep it from the neck down.
Yeah.
Not because it hurts. It just doesn't look good. But like even then, like, look, I'll be honest when I say this. Whenever I put the idea out there of me getting a tattoo when I got to 2,000 subs, which we have since gone past that goal. In fact, if I last checked, we're at 2,770 subscribers. So thank you guys for subscribing. Keep subscribing to the podcast if you can or whatnot. But when I put it out there, I did not anticipate the worm being an option. But the instant that I saw the worm, I put all my chips in wanting that to be the winner at the end of the day. I really did. Because it's so silly. It's so goofy. But I think it's good representation of the podcast at the end of the day.
And also, worm is very simple. It's
worm is very simple.
Tube with eyes.
Yeah.
A very, very simple thing to get.
Tube with eyes and a little top hat to go along with it, at least in my case. It's incredible to know that like the art that you have been able to put out there, like even though it's a little bit of an impact at this point, it's really incredible to know that there is an impact with some of your art at this point. Again, you've got your art tattooed onto other people's bodies. You've got your art out there to where people are noticing it, and especially at this point, hopefully with this episode of the podcast, people are going to be curious with what you're going to be doing next at the end of the day. I'm curious, like, it seems like at this point, when it comes to the art you're doing, you're just like scratching the surface with what you could potentially do. So what is like the ultimate goal? What do you hope to do as you keep going down this art journey?
Honestly, I just want to do more. Like, I'm not planning to make art my day job. Like,
Okay.
I have a day job for that. And it's like, art can be kind of fickle if you're doing it for money. So it's like, I'm just doing this to do it. I'm doing this for myself more than anything else.
Honestly, that's a good, valid mentality at the end of the day. That's something that's a mentality I try to keep with the podcast at the end of the day, because it's like, there's always that part of me in the back of my head that's always like, there's a chance this thing could take off and I could make this thing my career. But I'm also like very realistic, and I understand that like this is meant to be nothing more than a fun side hobby to where I can bring on incredible people and have incredible conversations like yourself, the incredible artists that I'm going to have their art be the first thing I put inked on my body. If that's not a testament to how good of an artist you are, I don't know what is. But on top of that, like, for you to have that kind of mentality of wanting to keep this thing more or less like a hobby, but also like just getting the chance to do more and express yourself more or whatnot, like that's the life. That's living at the end of the day.
Yep. And like, when it comes to art, it's like drawing isn't my only thing. Like sometimes I'll paint, sometimes I'll sew, sometimes I'll knit. And it's like, I have a lot of hobbies and I'm creative, and like, if I can put my mind to it, I'll probably do it if I want to. Nothing stopped me.
Absolutely. I need to see, now that you mentioned it, like, because I've only seen like the drawings and maybe a few like markers and stuff like that. I need to see some of these like paintings or some of the knitting that you've done or whatnot, because I can only imagine the fun you can have when it comes to that kind of stuff, especially with what you've been able to put out there.
Oh yeah. With the knitting things, like, I got into like a year ago. I've made a few scarves.
Oh, nice.
I'm learning how to make hats.
Hey, there you go. I mean, I have my stepmom. She does a lot of crocheting or whatnot, which is different, same but different, just different techniques or whatnot. If I remember correctly, when it comes to the two or whatnot. But even then, like, just knowing the creativity that can come out of that, especially as you want to get into like hats and stuff like that. Oh, I can just imagine, especially with the weird, again, going on the border of cute and cursed that you could potentially put out there in more physical form at the end of the day.
Yeah. And like I know how to crochet too. Like knitting and crocheting have similar elements to them and I know how to do both. But right now I'm more focused on the knitting aspect and like yeah, with art I like creepy stuff.
Yeah.
I like cute stuff. I combine them together and sometimes you end up with like Sophie's Bakery, I guess.
That's valid.
Has
That
this very cute rubber hosey type character, and then later on you see her become very, very miserable.
mm, I dang it, I already feel bad because she already looks so sweet and innocent. I don't want it to get all sad and miserable.
Oh, her life is a never-ending loop of torment, and she's making the best of it.
Oh, oh. I feel. Are you talking about the game or are you talking about my own life? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But no, regardless, like it's incredible to know that like this is the kind of stuff that you have out there and the mentality you have when it comes to art in general. It's a good, fun mentality to have. But it leaves me curious because I want to see, at least when it comes to this next question, I want to go a little above and beyond and see what you could potentially produce when I give you, Lazy Daisy, the dream scenario, if I may. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags. I come up to him like, look, Daisy, we have seen what you've been able to put out there and such. And like we again, like this random podcast host just said, we feel like you're only scratching the surface with what you could potentially do. You just need a little extra push, a little extra platform to get you to something more above and beyond. We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever industry possible, and more money than there should be possible. We probably should be giving it back to certain artists, especially like animators and such. Make sure they have a good living wage, maybe insurance, all that kind of stuff. Hashtag stand with animation forever and always. But we'll focus on them later. Right now, we are focusing on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the dream Lazy Daisy project?
Well, first off, I'd use some money to get some ADHD meds.
That's a good start. That's a very good start. Yep.
And I don't know, really.
Okay.
Like, I'd probably just use the money to pay bills so I can, like, just do more art stuff. If I wanted to learn how to animate stuff.
Oh, there you
Maybe
go.
play a couple of video games here and there just to buy out time.
Like your dream scenario is just let me just chill. Like let me just relax. Let me just enjoy myself for a little bit.
Yeah, that's really it. Because like I'm gonna continue doing as I do, regardless of how much I have. Okay. But it's like with an extra money, it's like maybe I don't have to work every day. Maybe I can just go do a part-time job and then spend the rest of my time doing whatever creative endeavors, drawing, practicing animation, knitting. Maybe I'll take the time to like learn how to stream and stream art or something.
There you go. That'd be a good mentality at the end of the day, especially with how easy it is to get that stuff going at the end of the day. Like I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen people like setting up art streams and such these days. Like it seems foreign for someone that never does it, but once you actually get in there and actually get to it or whatnot, like you could easily set that up and boom, that you're set. Like you can just chill, relax, and do little doodles for the rest of your life.
Yep.
But sadly, we got to get down from the dream scenario. We have to get back to reality. And I'll ask the ever so generic question. Where do you hope to see yourself, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
5 to 10 years. Hopefully, I'd manage to finish at least 1 or 2 of my projects.
There you go.
And that's really it. I mean, I'd probably be in the same spot I am now, but like I'm not in too bad of a spot.
No, that's good. No, honestly, that's great to hear at the end of the day, especially seeing how chaotic the world can be or whatnot. If you're happy with where you are, then just more of what you got. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
As we start to wind up the interview, I just got one last question I want to ask you, Daisy. Obviously, you are deeply entrenched in art in one form or fashion with how much of a vibe it is to you and how much, especially with, again, how chaotic the world can be, how much of a like I said, just a good, fun thing for you to relax and do at the end of the day. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
In my mind, art is very important because art is our way of just putting something out there that expresses something that gets other people to feel. How can I better explain this? Um, Art is feelings put forth. Yes.
Okay.
Art is feelings put forth, and other people can react to that however way they want, but it also invokes feelings in others, whether they see it positively or negatively. And like having those feelings out there in the world, having thoughts put out, and just for other people to see and be inspired by and like recognize, like that's very important to the world. Like a lot of what we have around us is art of some kind, even if we don't immediately recognize it as such. Nature can be art, and that can either inspire you to do something or just enjoy the moment. Like art is weird and nebulous, but also very inspiring, but also something that we can't really avoid either.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself. Daisy, that is all the questions I have for you today. I've already showered you with a good bit of praise, but I'm going to shower you with a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what I want. Look, like I said, whenever we even first got this interview going or whatnot, like I cannot tell you how much I appreciate your presence when it comes to this podcast in the first place. Like to be blunt, more than anything else, I don't really get a whole lot of people that show that love and appreciation back to the podcast itself. Like I see the love and appreciation going to the guests, and that's good. That's what I hope for at the end of the day. But to see that love and appreciation go back to the podcast itself with the silly little doodles that you do at the end of the day, like I cannot tell you how much it brightens my day every time I see those doodles, even years later after those doodles have were out there into the world or whatnot. It makes me proud at the end of the day, the fact that I have to get one of them like inked into my skin at the end of the day. Like it ever since you've really showcased that love for this podcast, you've always been a good vibe for the podcast itself. And that's why whenever you let me know that, like, hey, let me just in a silly, goofy way, hey, you think I can just be on the podcast? I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Let's have fun. And honestly, I think we've had a really good chat. I really enjoyed kind of the mentality and the vibe that you have when it comes to art in general. And I sincerely hope that, like, whether you get a few more people, especially at this episode, or if you somehow blow up with Sophie's Bakery somehow and everyone wants to see more of Sophie's Bakery and stuff like that, I sincerely hope that those good vibes and that good mentality sticks with you with whatever you put forward, because I can tell, especially with what we have talked about, I'm so intrigued to see what you have to put out there based on, again, like the good mentality and the good vibes that you have at the end of the day. The long and the short of it is, thank you for what you do. Thank you for showcasing that love for art in general, and keep it up because we need more of that love out there in the world. And I sincerely hope that this episode, that people give that love right back to you because you deserve it and then some. So thank you.
Oh yeah, like I was definitely curious about being on the show for like a minute, but it's like I don't know. I'm not really working on anything. I'm not doing much that's like big interview worthy, but it's like, why not try?
Yeah. And look where it got you. I mean, look, if nothing else, the fact that you've already got a chance to meet me not once, but not once, not 3 times, not 4 times, but twice in person at MomoCon, which is always, I cannot tell you how much of a surreal experience it was, at least the first time you came up to me or whatnot. Like, I'll tell this story for the people at home. If I remember correctly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I was standing in line for the glitch, because this was back in 2024. If I remember correctly. I was standing in line for the glitch line, for the glitch booth or whatnot, because I wanted to see what merch was even available, because at that point most of the things have been bought or whatnot. And you just casually came up to me. Granted, I was wearing, I think it was this exact shirt even. Oh no, it was the previous logo shirt because this was before the new logo. But I was wearing one of these shirts.
One of the shirts.
Yeah, I was wearing one of those shirts. But you came up to me and you were like, "Hey, are you Nathan? Are you the Postmodern Art podcast guy or something?"
Yeah, podcast guy.
Are you the podcast guy? I'm like, "Oh yeah, actually." And like it surprised me that someone actually recognized me at the first place. And then I asked like, yeah, "What's your username and whatnot?" You said Lazi Daisy. And the immediate like excitement that I had, I don't know if you saw my excitement, but like the immediate excitement that I had realizing you're the one that's done fan art for the podcast. Like, yeah,
like immediately I saw you like kind of like start jumping around. It's like, oh, it's you. Because like that threw me off. Like, oh, like, okay, you're excited to see me.
Yeah, I was excited to see you because you like, again, I always remember that art so fondly more than anything else, like, because it meant a lot that you showcased that love to what I got going on. So like the fact that I got a chance to see you say, hey, you know, I took a quick photo and like the love that I had for the love that you gave to the podcast or whatnot, just in that moment, it really did make my world. It made my day more than anything else. I really do appreciate you taking the time to do it. And it's good to see that I can give it right back to you when it comes to today's episode. Jesus. Yeah. Now, people want to know exactly more about the art that I've been able to talk about throughout and some of the silly doodles and maybe some of the cool ideas that you could be developing in the future. Go ahead and plug yourself for the people at home. Where can people find more about you and what you got going on?
Okay, so you can find me on Blue Sky at Lazi Daisy. You can find me on Twitter at Lazi Days. I'm even on Tumblr, where Tumblr I am Laziness Nerd Dump.
Okay.
And like that's where I'm all at right now. I don't really use Twitter. I mostly post art on like Tumblr and Blue Sky, but the Twitter's there.
Yeah, I mean the Twitter's there. I mean, to be fair, that's how I even first knew of you in the first place, because before Twitter became what Twitter is or whatnot, that was the cool place for artists to be, and that's where you posted the fan art. So, but regardless, I'll make sure to have those links, and if there's any that even you didn't even know about, I'll be sure to put them in the description below. I got you covered. Yep. Do you have any final words before we sign off?
Well, to everyone who would like to listen, thank you for listening to me be an awkward mess on a podcast. I just recently posted a new thingy on Blue Sky as this was recording because I forgot I didn't post a thing. So after this, you can check that out on my Blue Sky. And if anyone likes to follow me, go ahead. Thank you very, very much if you did. And yeah, this was pretty fun, pretty neat.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to even do this and showcasing that love for the podcast in the first place. With that, all I have left to say is for the people at home, if you can, please pay your artists.
Oh, yeah. Be fair to artists. They do a lot of work behind the scenes. They make sketches, they color in, they make revisions and all that, and they deserve to be fairly paid.
Thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Like I said in the intro, Daisy's been a very major part for this podcast, and I was so glad to get an opportunity to have her on to talk about herself a little bit. And Daisy, if you've gotten up to this point, thank you for taking the time to even do this in the first place. And thank you for the love and support that you've given to the podcast this entire time. Sincerely. I always try to pay back that love more than anything else that you guys give, not just to myself, but also to the guests. It's very easy in today's world to be overstimulated by all sorts of different voices and all sorts of different personalities coming at you in one form or fashion, telling you, hey, support me, love me, get the OnlyFans, get the Patreon, all that kind of stuff. And that's understandable. It's that kind of market these days. It's that kind of atmosphere, especially on social media these days. But the fact that I have people like Daisy that are able to carve out even just a little bit of time to show some love and support for this podcast, I always want to make sure that I warrant that at the end of the day. It's definitely a lot easier said than done, even on the relatively small scale that the podcast is at this point. But I hope you guys know that anytime I see any sort of love and support that you guys give for the podcast, anytime you spread the word, anytime you buy the merch, anytime you recommend me to one of your buddies, anytime you leave a comment in the description or in the comment section or whatnot, I always try to at least warrant that by showing my love and appreciation for you guys, because it's not easy to stick around, especially for, some of the episodes I have. I mean, for goodness sakes, I have the one episode that's like 3.5 hours long. I don't blame y'all if that's a tough listen to get all the way through. But I hope that guests like today and guests like I've had on the podcast before and guests I'm going to continue to bring, I hope that the love and respect you guys give, not just to the guests, but to this podcast, is more than rewarded every single time you listen to one of these episodes. I sincerely hope that you guys know how much I do love and appreciate y'all and want nothing but the best. Sincerely, I want to see y'all do incredible things. It's the least I can do for the amount of love you guys give to the podcast and to the incredible guests that come and go through this thing.